Yogani, do you imagine it coming up straight, or do you actually try to follow the bends in your spine?
Well, we sit relatively straight during this practice, just the way we do in meditation, and we do it right before meditation, and a good beginning time is about 5 minutes of spinal breathing, and then about 20 minutes of meditation. It's pretty similar with meditation, where we can sit with back support, we can keep our eyes closed, of course, and if we have a back curvature or whatever, that's fine. It's not an exact science that way. If you're off by 1 millimeter, you won't be cut off from the highway to enlightenment.
And your body will tell you. If you're uncomfortable, fix it.
One thing I should mention is that this restraint of breath that we're talking about with pranayama, it actually stimulates the release of large amount of energy in our body, and with the spinal breathing approach, that energy becomes balanced. And so it is a balancing technique. And the energy comes out of the pelvic region. When we restrict our oxygen intake a little bit, the vast storehouse of energy in the pelvic region moves to compensate. That's the principle of pranayama. And next week we're going to be talking about that much more when we cover Tantra and the role of sexual energy in yoga.
Yeah, and I know that that's such an amazing buzzword. There's a certain segment of society that seems to be, intrigued by Tantra because what they believe that it is. Like one of the books in the sex section of the bookstore, mind-blowing sex, and that's really not what it's all about. It's the cultivation of the energy that's inside of us. The yoga, some of the theories behind yoga is that that's where. The head is where the energy came into your body, and it ended up down in your groin, and that's where it sits ready to go back. Would that be a real quick thumbnail?
That's correct, and also the sexual energy is the largest storehouse of life force in our body. It's actually a storehouse, like a giant warehouse of energy, and it's generally preserved there for reproduction, but it also can be used for spiritual development. And pranayama is one of the methods that addresses that, and there are other methods to address it as well in very respectable ways that are, not going off into any sort of cultish sexual things or whatever. It's just a matter of our normal lifestyle, whatever it is, and taking advantage of some simple principles that enable us to make the body ecstatic.
I think normal is an interesting word that you used because it's our normal ability. It's if we become aware of it and if we cultivate it and if we continue to work on it and to allow it in some cases.
Yes, it's just a matter of putting a little something extra into our normal lifestyle, whatever it is. As we talked about last week, there are two sides to the yoga equation. One is cultivating inner silence, which we do with meditation mainly. The other is cultivating ecstatic conductivity and radiance in the body, which we use pranayama and other methods for that. And when you put those two together, you have the Shiva-Shakti equation, which leads to the birth of a new divine energy in the body.
Imagine a fountain with all the water and how beautiful that can be, and then imagine if you put some really amazing lights on it. That's sort of how I look at it. So, they're great individually, but you put them together, and boy, you got an internal show that's amazing. We're down to about 50 seconds, Yogani. Thank you as always. AdvancedYogaPractices.com. If you're into the world of spirituality at all and self-development, and you don't want a bunch of rigmarole, this is pretty nuts and bolts, Yogani, what you've come up with.
Well, thank you. We try and keep it simple.
And you have. If an idiot like me, a mouth breather like me, can manage to wade through it without his head blowing off, you're doing dang on good. We'll be back next week. Tell your friends about it. It's going to be Tantra. And no, we're not going to be... I'll be wearing a veil and doing a belly dance if need be. But Yogani will be with us next week, 7 o'clock here on 1360thesource.com. Once again, go to AdvancedYogaPractices.com. I'm Scott Fitzgerald sitting in for Will Brashear. See you next week.